here, your thrifty apprentice. Happy Friday, and today I am coming at you guys with another Inktense block video. So in the previous video, when I first used these for the first time, I kind of used two different techniques with them, where I used them as this, straight from the stick to paper. I used straight from the stick onto wet paper. I did some painting directly from the stick with a paintbrush. So I tried those couple of techniques out. Now, today I want to try a different technique. So, as you guys know, there are 72 Inktense blocks in the complete range. And they also make Inktense pencils, as well as a Inktense pan paint pan set at the moment. So, and just a quick glimpse at the pencils. I have the 12 count, and now they all actually have a different finish to them. Although they are really vibrant ink-like products, the line, the different mediums from the line have sort of a different finish. The pencils have a smoother finish than the blocks. The blocks sort of have a really matte finish, and I have never experienced the pan paints because I don't have them. So I decided, for the technique in this particular go with the blocks, I would take the blocks and turn them into an actual pan set. It's just a different variation of the way to use the blocks outside of actually owning the actual pan paint set of Inktense. So, out of the 72 colors, I took time to curate a half pan set of 20 colors. I took my time. I looked all the colors up online between Blick, Jerry Autorama, and the Derwent site. I matched color numbers to color names, and I also matched color numbers and names to Lightfast ratings, which you can find all of that online for the blocks. The only thing I have not done is put pigment numbers on my little makeshift paper here, but I'm probably going to put the pigment numbers onto the swatching sheet for the half pan set that I'm making once it's all said and done. So let me show you what I've done here. I have taken the blocks, and as you can see, some of them have been cut down based on the colors that I chose from each different section, and put into half pans. Let me show you here. And I have 20 half pans. I have one still out because I'm going to show you guys how I did it exactly. But I have 20 colors that I've selected from the 72 to form a curated palette, which I'm going to be swatching and painting from in this video. All right. Well, I'm not going to swatch them on camera. I've already swatched the Inktense. I know what they look like. I'm just going to make a swatching sheet to go inside this particular palette for the colors in the arrangement that I've chosen for this half pan palette. All right. So let's get this closed up, and I am going to show you how I cut them down. I intentionally left one color out for me to do, and of course this is actually a Prima Marketing. This was one of their 12 half pan sets. All of my Prima Marketing sets, I put them together in one big palette. That way I could use those little travel palettes, excuse me, for different things. So I put in 12 half pans, and then down the middle row, I was able to squeeze in 6 additional ones to give me 20 colors in the whole palette. Now on the bottom of the ones that I have in the middle, I've inserted, I've put magnets on to make sure that they'll hold down to that. And I'm going to show you guys what I used. Now, I didn't use anything expensive. This comes from Walmart out of the kids section. This is Go Create. This is magnetic tape. You get 10 feet of it, and it's under $5. It's 5 inches wide, and you get 10 feet of it. So basically, what you want to do is just take a piece of any type of magnetic tape or any type of magnet that you may have that's not too thick because you don't want it to protrude too much because you still want the palette to be able to close. So I'm just gonna cut off a little piece of that, and the rest of this will go back in my stash drawer. And then I would peel off the taping and stick it to the back of the pan as I have here. Okay, all right. So now to fill that actual half pan, I'm going to be taking the color that I need to insert here, which in this case is number 1000 in the Inktense block range. And that number is indigo. No, I'm sorry, that number is bright blue. Bright blue. So basically what I did is I took a palette knife and I flipped my little pan over on the back. I'm gonna measure how much block I need, making sure to allow for the fact that the pans are a little thick on the end. So you definitely want to measure from the bottom of the pan. That way you're getting the measurement for the inside of the pan versus from the top, because the pans are just slightly smaller on the bottom. So measure from the bottom. All right, so now I've got about how big I need it to be. I'm just gonna take my time and be careful going around, and you'll see it'll eventually snap. Then I'll use that piece to measure the second piece that I need to go in the pan. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna cut around. And if I see that my stick was uneven, whatever should have gone, I'll just go ahead and trim that much off so I can put in my pan anyway. All right, I'm gonna tap off that stick to make sure all the crumbs are off of it, and I'll stick that back in that main palette in just a moment. I'm going to tap off my little pieces, get all the crumbs off of those, and then I will set those two to the side here, along with the pan. Tap off my palette knife. I want to get as much as my pigment as I can. And here I just have a little folded sheet of paper that I use when I pan the other ones. I'm going to tap those crumbs onto that paper. Let me see, what did I do with my palette knife? Here we go. And forgive the noise. I just want to scrape as much of it down as I can. And then I am going to gather this and put the crumbs into the bottom of the pan. And I do that first. I do this part before I put in the cut off pieces. So I'm gonna just get those crumbs in there, and of course once water hits that, it's gonna, you know, mash down, mesh together, all that, those type of good things. I'll even that out, and then I will drop in my two pieces that I cut. And there we have it. That's how I pan those. And now that one will just drop into place right here. And I have my 20 color curated Derwent Inktense block half pan set. Yes. Now, I've decided that since I was doing something whimsical by cutting down blocks, I'm going to do something whimsical as far as painting is concerned, which we will jump into in just a moment. But the first thing I want to do is I want to swatch these out onto a swatch card that'll fit inside this palette. I'm not going to put you guys through the torture of seeing that, but I will cut back at the end after the demo just to show you the little swatch sheet. So the next thing you will see though will actually be our demo for today. So let's get going. For today's demo, I am going to be doing something really whimsical and just kind of outside of the box. I am doing a fried eggplant composition, but not like you think. I'm actually doing fried eggplant. You get it? A fried eggplant. But if you don't get it, you'll definitely get it by the time this demo is concluded. So as you know, I've divided those 20 Inktense blocks up to make a half pan set. Now, I will remind you that this is different from painting with the actual Inktense 12 or 24 paint pan sets. Now, although they're Inktense and they carry the same vibrancy and punch, across the pencils, blocks, and paints, you are going to get a different finish. I know I said it before, but I have to reiterate that. So do not think that if you cut down the blocks into a half pan set, that you're going to get the same finish that you would get if you were just to order the 24 paint pan set. But for me, this is going to work. I personally love that matte velvet finish that comes with the Inktense once they dry, the Inktense blocks once they dry. It's sort of like taking a pastel and turning it into a watercolor, except for it's really bright and punchy. So I'm using a couple of different colors, excuse me. I use the sun yellow and Sicilian yellow to do my yolk. I am using the Payne's gray to do all of my shading and darker tones. I'm a big Payne's gray fan. So I was really happy to see that there was a Payne's gray block in the 72 block set that I was able to cut down. This palette is curated with not your normal colors you would expect to be in a palette. I really wanted to try to have something in here that would challenge me and force me to kind of come outside of my color zone box. So I have several different shades of blue in here to help mix in and make darker tones. I was also thinking, as I set this palette up, about the landscapes that I always do. So this is a clear vase that these fried eggplants are sitting in. And if you're wondering how I pulled this off, I took a reference photo of daisies inside a vase and simply shaped those daisy flowers to look like they were fried eggs or eggs cooked over easy. I thought it was really cool. I even took the one that was closed up like a bud. It's going to have more of a rosy bud feel to it, but I think it's going to all fit into the composition. I was sure to make sure, I only used like maybe 4-5 colors throughout this composition. I wanted to make sure to keep color harmony. And you will notice when I was doing the table, I actually laid down a yellow ochre, and then on top of that I laid down a really watery Payne's gray and let them mix and blend and dry down on the paper to give me this sort of off muted gray brown tone for the tabletop, which I feel worked really well once I started to put in the mass tone of Payne's gray to kind of bring the planking of the table out and bring it forward. I've told you guys in the videos before, I actually like painting wood. I love painting wood and rocks and landscapes and glass and food. And this year I'm really going to try to paint those things that make me happy. Maybe worry less about the algorithm, worry less about meeting the algorithm, and concentrate more on painting those things that make me happy, that brings me joy, because I'll be enthusiastic and excited about it, and hopefully that will relay across to my audience and will be more incentive and more inspiration to encourage anyone watching, following along, or that's a part of the Thrifty Apprentice art community to just keep painting, right? So I'm just adding in shadows here. It's actually self-explanatory. I really wanted to share this with you guys so that you could get just the whole whimsical idea of a fried eggplant. I initially saw this idea on Instagram, in all honesty, and it was a digital painting or a digital field of fried eggplants that was sort of done as a joke in response to something that an artist was asked. And I thought it was such a cool idea. So I took the idea of a fried eggplant and created my very own composition. You see that I'm using a fan brush there. Now, a fan brush is a really great way to add texture to wood, in case you guys didn't know. It helps to do it quickly so that you don't spend a lot of time trying to get all those small details in. I told you earlier, I used Payne's gray. I really love the way that it complemented the other colors that I painted with. I feel like it helped to add just enough definition to separate everything without graying anything out too much. Of course, you could get the same tone by mixing like your burnt sienna and like your Prussian blue. you're gonna sort of get the same feel if you don't have a Payne's gray. So that's it. That's what I'm doing, hitting and missing here, bringing out details. And as far as the shadow is concerned, I did want to make sure that I kept the shadow dark along the outside edges and light in the middle, so that it would feel like light was reflecting through the clear vase. And you'll also see that I painted the inside of the vase in different levels, and I would give each layer a time to dry before going in to work on it more, just to make sure that it looked like it was clear, see-through, and that there was actually water in it. Here I'm just hitting everything with some highlights to bring everything forward, reflect and refract the light. Yeah, and that's gonna pretty much wrap it up, guys. I will see you on the other side of this painting. So friends, there you have it. Fried eggplant. I love it. It's so whimsical. Oh, it's so whimsical. So I painted that. I just want to show you that this is Strathmore cold press acid free 100% cotton. This is their 500 series paper. Step above the 400 series. I like using it. I've only been able to find it in 8x10, but I think it's a pretty nice watercolor 100% cotton paper. It took the Inktense really well, and I like the fact that I was able to really get it to sort of look like watercolor, in my opinion, without, you know, it giving you the texture you would sort of expect from Inktense. I really like them on this paper. Really like them a lot. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you saw, heard, picked up on something you liked. If you did, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel or returning and you haven't subscribed, guys, go ahead, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell so you will know when all of the new content is coming out. Keep in mind, it's art and craft content. Drop in the comment section, let me know. I really like this whole idea of whimsical painting like this, playing off of ideas. I'm gonna see if I can do a couple of other paintings along this line. Have you guys ever tried anything like this? I do believe there is going to be a traceable on Patreon, just in case you want to give us a try. And let's see, jump in the comments. Oh, I said that already. You can check the video description for all of the relevant links. Oh, and you can share if you want to. Help me get it out there. Help me promote the channel. Help me promote the artwork. I would really appreciate it. Remember, as I tell you guys at the end of every single painting, and I will see you back here on Sunday, just keep painting and crafting.